Alright, hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. As you can see, I've managed to max out a tank, more specifically, the Gunbreaker. I've also worked a bit on my outfit, to see if I could, see what else I could make with it, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be sticking with it or not. For now, we've got ourselves the Gridanian delegate who needs a tank for help. In urgent need of a stout defender, help combat a new threat to his homeland. I've come on behalf of the Twin Adders to enlist the aid of accomplished fighters. Small folk cower in their homes for fear of an unprecedented threat to the Twelves, a blasphemy. It strikes quickly and with deadly precision before returning the shadows from whence it came. Try as we might, we've yet to devise a means to track it, much less slay it. That's interesting. Gridania has a lot of hunters. They can't track it yet. Several brave souls search for it even now, but the chances would improve greatly if they had a stout protector by their side. Judging by your reputation, I dare say you're precisely the man we speak. What say you? Will you serve as the shield that stands between Gridania and certain doom? Hey, protecting the realm is what I do. I'll report that. I'll take that as an enthusiastic yes. Make haste to the Adder's Nest and report to my superior. All Gridania shall pray for your success. Be pretty easy then. Might need to redo my hairstyle a bit if I want to stick to this particular coat. The Nier Automata, the raid coats are all basically just black overcoats, and you can paint most of them as well, so it's pretty easy to work them into a lot of outfits. I really need to mess around with this a bit more. There's a lot of potential options. Like, I've seen some people use one of the other coats to make sort of a general or admiral outfit. That's pretty neat. Funny enough, I wasn't too big on Gunbreaker when it first came out. Gunblades are kind of up there with whip swords in terms of weapons that can't actually exist, because you have to sacrifice one of the two parts in order to make the other work properly. But hey, this is, as the name suggests, this game is high fantasy, and there's nothing wrong with leaning into that. The Blasphemy Huntmaster. Our lieutenant Razahan sent word of your arrival, but I can scarcely believe our luck. Are you truly here to help bring this wicked blasphemy to heel? Then there's hope for us yet. I shall fetch the Elder Seed Seer at once. She is leading the hunt, and I'm certain she'll be most eager to see you. Alright, the leader of Gridania herself, then, and that's quite an honor. Although we've met a few times in the story so far. And I think I mentioned in one of the earlier streams, but Gridania is actually my starting city, since I started my character as an archer, which goes into Bard. So that leads me to Gridania for the first area I'll usually be visiting. Full glad am I to welcome you in good health and good spirits, Coda. On behalf of all Gridania, allow me to thank you for rising to our defense yet again. This time in a bit more of a literal sense. You will forgive me for eschewing further formalities, as time is of the essence. I shall share with you what little we know of this elusive scourge. Following the events in Thavnair, we received a report that an unidentified man has fallen to fits on the road before transforming into a beast most foul. Or which, as we soon determined. Eyewitnesses to subsequent attacks spoke of patterns on its skin reminiscent of heavy chains, and thus we have named it Gleipnir, for the creature of legend. Interesting. I believe the Gleipnir are supposed to be the chains which bind Fenrir. Well, it emerges from the brush without warning, bringing destruction and tragedy to those unfortunate enough to be near. Ere we can respond to its threat, it retreats into hiding, leaving no trace for us to follow. The elementals cry out for us to rid the forest of this wicked presence, and yet even if we track to its lair, I feel besting the beast would be no simple matter. Makes you say that exactly. The wounds of Gleipnir's victims are tainted by a corruption. We can but conclude the beast's fangs, claws, and horns are imbued with a powerful poison. A small scratch sends the afflicted into fits, and death soon follows. So it doesn't transform them into another, which, like most others, this one may be happy to know of the creeping death. The effects of Gleipnir's vile poison bear more than a passing similarity to the symptoms of that deadly plague. I swept through the Twelves Wood many years ago. The sick found their skin covered in chain-like patterns, spent the final moments in excruciating pain. It was long before I came to Gridania, but people still speak of it with dread. Is it true the disease spared not a single here, the human race equivalent? Very nearly, yes. Before the remainder were taken, we were able to devise a cure from Glimshroom. Slow though it was, the scars of the tragedy could then begin to heal. Gleipnir threatens to reopen old wounds, I fear. Yet the similarities between the corruption and creeping dark death's marks, it's unclear how these two are related, if at all. It's possible that the blasphemy has a connection to the creeping death originally, and thus when it transformed, it somehow got a connection to that. Both Conjuring and White Magic have failed to abate the poison spread. To confront Gleipnir now would place our soldiers at risk of grievous injury. Oh, forgive me, Elder Seedseer, but this appears to be urgent. What, again? Gleipnir has struck once more in the North Shroud. The Whalers came too late to see the beast themselves, but the man it attacked yet lives. They are bringing him to Fallguard Float as we speak. Then we must meet them there. Will you accompany us, Kota? Aethelmeyer should be able to appraise us of the details upon our arrival. Alright, sounds good. Unfortunately, tanks don't have any kind of self-cleanse in this game. It's entirely healers who have that. And they did... Actually, what DPS did use... More specifically, offensive mages used to have an option to bring a cleanse if they wanted. I'd like to have it on my red mage, since that meant I had a heal, a revive, and a status cleanse, but unfortunately they removed that, I guess. As much as I like this game, I do feel they might be homogenizing the jobs a little too much. Tanks are usually the ones you'll see get the criticism the most, because they all have very similar skills. The reason I went with Gunbreaker is because it feels the most different. It's very busy, and you'll be seeing that once I start fighting something. Well, at least if you're watching this and are unfamiliar with the game. Basically, it has a lot of button mashing. The Dark Knight job did used to have some button mashing of its own, but they removed that starting in Shadowbringers. On one hand, I do get it, but on the other hand, because even I was thinking it might be a bit too much having to weave skills. Basically, the way Dark Knight used to work is they had a skill that would upgrade their base regular attacks and skills into other things. In Heaven's Ward, when it was first introduced, it was really difficult to use it too much, so you had to be very careful on what you used it. Like, if you used it on a skill that would boost your aggro generation, it would grant even further aggro generation. Put on a defensive skill, and it could be made even stronger. In Stormblood, it was they made it so that you could easily regenerate your MP through a number of methods, so you were able to spam it on almost everything. I felt that was a bit too busy, but now, ever since Shadowbringers, when they removed that, it started to feel a bit too simple, for lack of a better term. Gunbreaker doesn't have anything quite that complicated. Instead, it just kind of has a battle rotation, just like DPS jobs. So it's busy, but I guess I appreciate that a bit more now that Dark Knight lost it. I guess one of those situations where I didn't realize is what I had until it was lost. Right. Keep breathing entwined serpents. Word of the attack is yet to spread among the populace. They'll remain calm for now. We cannot say for certain Gleipnir has quit the place, so please stay on your guard. Elder Seedseer, you honor us with your presence. I cannot thank you enough for coming all this way. Given the dire circumstances, I would not leave this to another. Where is the wounded man? Outside of the bobbing cork, being attended to by one of our hearers. He is a capable healer, but I worry this is beyond his abilities. Kane-sana's sister is actually the White Mage job trainer, so you can bet your sweet Bippy that she's an extremely skilled healer in her own right. I shall do all my power to aid him. White Mages in this game, while they do use holy and divine magic and stuff, they typically specialize in harmony with nature and stuff like that as their main theme. I kind of would have expected them to be a sort of life and death focus, but I guess they decided the Black Mage was better for that, because that's indeed the theme of the Black Mage job. The power of life and death, with the main threat being that it's tempting to push for more at the cost that it might cost you more than you realize. I in turn may have need of assistance as well. Ask that you stay close, both of you. Well, we have a good solid party here. One damage dealer, that being the spearman, one healer, of course, the elder CC herself, and me as the tank. I even want to know what's over here. I genuinely... They're all probably the same FC. And all the title. This is freaking me out a little. And they all have the fat cat minion. Yeah, this doesn't seem right. That he survived his encounter with Glipnir speaks to his fortitude. I know not if he can be saved, but we can at least allay his suffering, if it comes to this. He clings to life, albeit barely. We must try to ease his pain. He's a hardy soul, but I'm utterly at a loss. While I manage to heal his wounds, the poison lingers. I fear the worst is yet to come. When I removed his clothes for treatment, I recognized the chain. This is indeed creeping death. Do not lose heart. I shall spare no effort. Rest for now. We may have need of your talents again ere long. She is mad. A bloody swarm of them. They came from the east gate. Oh, those are known the carriers of the creeping death. Villagers are on edge. The vile hairbringers are another plague. They may panic. Proceed to those monsters. I shall remain here with the victim. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I want to show this off here. I like that animation when you activate the aggro generation skill. This character be all, come on. Kind of like when they do when that guy in a martial arts movie does a pose and then gestures to come on. Feels pretty good, I think. Oh, other way. By the way, I hope no one watching made any promises they'll do something if pigs fly. I mean, technically a porksea is a familiar in the shape of a pig and not an actual flying pig, but... And yes, I did intentionally try to choose the cutest and least threatening looking mount for my tank job, why do you ask? I think this wide-eyed fellow is the source of the earlier yelling. You see... Chigoes nearby. Boys, where? Keep them away from me. Panicky man. They were near the Alder Springs, a whole swarm, like an army getting ready for war. Bringing the creeping death like us not. Folk been dropping dead with no rhyme or reason. And I'm not one to join, no sir. Came running back as fast as my legs would carry me. Were you bitten? I'll show you the here if so. Not a single hole that doesn't belong, you can be sure. That sounds like it could be taken out of context way too easily. You'd best do something about the swarm, though. Would that we could, but keeping the gate manned is our priority, and we have not the numbers to spare for a hunting party. By the time the whaler reinforcements arrive, it may be too late. We'll deal with these monsters. The one who calls the greater number owes the other a flagon of ale, I commend your bravery. Godspeed, and don't let yourself get bitten. Beat the Chigoes. Gristmill merchant. Looks like I see something here. You sense a hostile presence. Oh, this is actually a lot easier than I thought it'd be. Oh my, I guess I spoke too soon, didn't I? But I guess these are just level 85. Not really a major threat. Although sadly, these guys are still pretty weak because they're only level 85, so... Well, it is nice for getting my AoE rotation going and showing off that I've managed to get my clickless combo working with a tank. It doesn't really show off how button mashy you can get with this job. But don't worry, worst case scenario, the final boss will mandate that I use it. Alright. Well, be praised, and you... I come bearing a cure for the creeping death, but it's little use against actual death. Against actual death? Aye, that's why I've come. I'd heard a man was suffering from the uncommon pains. Sense an opportunity for philanthropy and a touch of profit, I'll admit. But if what you say is true, Condition demands a much swifter pair of feet than mine. Could you bring it to my stead? No need for payment at this time, of course. Yeah, saved my life, and one good turn deserves another. I only hope the cure works as purported. As for me, I'll be on my way, and give any Valk and I spy, any bugs I spy, a wide berth. That sounds particularly wise. This used to be Gelmora Ruins. This used to be the entrance to Gelmora, but they changed it to the Deep Dungeon area. One of the many things that changed when they did the Realm Reborn reboot. I don't think these people are bots or anything, but I will admit it's a bit creepy seeing them there. Volgord Healer. Brought medicine? What luck. We must administer it right away. Think that mere mention of Chigoes could cause such panic. The creeping death casts a long shadow across these lands. I think they have discussed it a bit in the previous bits of the story, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Thank you for culling those insects. Alas, our patient's condition's yet to improve, and all we can do to keep him from succumbing to the poison. Creeping death remedy. Medicine made from glimshroom which cures creeping death. I know this medicine. It was once used to treat creeping death. Given its symptoms, it may prove effective here as well. Yeah, it may have been awful, but she did mention that they did eventually find a cure, and that's a huge step. It works upon the body quickly, as I recall. Hold a while longer. The medicine will soon relieve you of your pain. It hurts, ah. Why? The man shrieks, dying in his throat as his body is racked by violent convulsions. He then falls still and quiet, as if breath was snatched from his chest. Oh, mercy. At the very least, his suffering is over. So while his symptoms are while Glipnir's poison is similar to creeping death, it isn't exactly creeping death, is what I'm getting from this. Had we been quicker with the medicine, would he have lived? Nay, I think not. He was doomed from the moment the poison entered his blood, as will be others if we do not soon gain an understanding of our foe. Let this tragedy not be in vain, but serve as a lesson. Though the effects resemble creeping death, 'tis clear the two share little else in common. The poison burns the body much quickly than any disease. Too deadly is it to be borne by creatures so fragile as the Chigoes, or any other besides. Nice. Then it's one less possibility that people need fear. It is a shame a life was lost, but this knowledge may help us ensure that others are not. Spread word, but do so with delicacy. In these troubled times, fear and despair can drive even the goodliest of souls to desperate ends. Glipnir is the only blasphemy known to us in Gridania. For now, we must do our utmost to stop him from sowing further discord. Understood, Elder Ceasir. I'll give this man a proper burial before sharing what I've discovered. Ascertaining Glipnir's whereabouts is still a primary concern. Let us return to the Adder's Nest, for information shall be our most reliable weapon in the days ahead, and there's no better place to acquire it. Alright, there we are. Off to New Gridania. I'm liking this outfit, but I definitely need to play around with it. Like I said, the overcoats that the Near raid had offered us a lot of options that previously were available. Keep breathing. Glipnir has been cited in various locales, though we are reviewing every report. We suspect most are erroneous. Fear has its way of making one jump at shadows. Will be some time before we determine which merit are more involved. Until then, ask you stay vigilant and keep your eyes peeled for any sign of blasphemy. Based off the fact that Gleipnir seems to be avoiding causing a panic, instead just attacking directly, and that is avoiding causing a panic directly, and instead just attacking and appearing. I think they may have been a hunter previously, which unfortunately does not really narrow it down very much. The city-state of Gridania was founded basically by making a pact with the elementals. The elementals make sure that the rains and harvests are always good, and in return, the city-state follows their whims. The Elder Seed Seer is basically the one who communicates with them the most. Although all of the ones of her race, the Pajali? I forget how it's pronounced, but yeah, the horned humans all have a special connection to nature, and that's how they can interact with the elementals on a regular basis. And that's how they work together to make sure that the forest thrives, and thus does everyone here also have a home to call their own. It's called the Twin Adders because it was founded primarily by the Elizin, the elves, and the humans. And obviously since then, lots of other races have joined. In fact, you'll usually see a number of Makode in particular. However, since it was founded by those two in particular, that's what the Twin Adders are in reference to. And of course, anyone can join as long as they are dedicated to the cause. To give voice, the Keeper is eager to resume the hunt. We followed up on every report concerning Gleipnir, even those currently beggared belief. That beggared belief. Most promising suggests the blasphemy is currently in the stalking the South Shroud. We are to proceed there at once, for there's no telling when it might strike again. The Elder Seed Seer is already en route. Let's not keep her waiting. But yeah, since Gridania is basically a bunch of hippies, this also means that they have a lot of hunters. And general outdoorsman type people. Loggers, hunters, yeah, those kinds of people are very common here. Headed Camp Tranquil, since that's the closest. And that's why I think that it sounds like Gleipnir was originally a hunter of some kind, because now they're using those hunting skills on people. Fairlane. Does he have anything to say? First time these boulders have lain as you see them since the calamity. Atop the largest lies the tranquil. Mind your step as you go. The fall may not kill you, but certainly leave a mark. That would actually be pretty good advice in the general sense. I believe around level... Well, I'd forget, but in general sense... This game does have fall damage, but you can't actually die from it unless you're in combat. However, while you can only be reduced to 1 HP if you're not in combat, upon landing, there are some hostile enemies you may notice are hanging out around the areas you can fall, and that can make it a lot easier for them to finish you off. I don't remember if it happened to me, but I do know that there were people who had that issue. No sign of the beast yet, thankfully. No sign of the beast yet, thankfully. A single glimpse at Gleipnir might send people running, and it would be hard-pressed to restore order. Greetings, Coda. As luck would have it, my sister Rhea O frequents Camp Tranquil. We would do well with meet with her first, as she may have knowledge of this threat that can aid us in our search. Yeah, as I said, her sister is the White Mage job trainer, so... Yep, there she is. Along with the Moogles. It's been too long, Ryo. Honey, I was afraid the situation might force your arrival. Would that this reunion was under more joyous circumstances. It's heartening to see her joined by the bearer of Atoa's will. Yeah, Atoa was the previous White Mage who passed down the White Mage jobstone to your character if you decide to do the White Mage job quests. And I do appreciate they make an effort to acknowledge that whenever it becomes relevant. Unfortunately, Gleipnir's poison cannot be cured by any healing force known to us, as I'm sure you've already learned. Nevertheless, I have faith that together we will surely find a way to defeat it. Every moment is crucial, so let us dispense with further pleasantries. Have you received word of Glypnir's whereabouts? I have. Recently ambushed a poor traveler who succumbed to his wounds soon thereafter. A tragic and increasingly common tale. No others in Camp Tranquil have come to harm, but some claim they feel a presence in the distant trees, staring them with the malicious intensity. They struggle to find the courage to venture beyond the safety of the camp. While its victims exhibit symptoms of the reminiscent of creeping death, Glypnir's corruption seems to only affect those who have been assaulted by the blasphemy itself. We've yet to confirm a single instance of it spreading from one individual to another. That is somewhat reassuring, but it will provide little comfort to people here, I think. If Glypnir comes, any defense we mount will be at great cost. Those who fall wounded will invariably die. I'm at a loss, and the people under my care can see it. They grow tense and bicker amongst themselves. Some even accuse me of standing idly by while the monster roams free, as if I'm not doing all that I can. I apologize. Would that I had come to you sooner, whether there was even more I can offer you. First things first. Not every burden is yours to bear, Connie. He is right. It is the duty of all Seed Seers to face its threat, and so we should do so together, and with the aid of the elementals as well. Under different circumstances I would agree, but their strength has waned since the calamity, and I'm reluctant to impose upon them. Indeed, when I open my thoughts to the elementals, I shudder to hear their distress. Once we've laid low the blasphemy, the elementals will be at peace. Well then, how do you propose we go about that? First, allow me to speak with the people here and assure them that all will be well, that Gridania is resolved to weather the storm remain steadfast. No road is closed to those true of heart. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that you'd begin with an earnest and heartfelt appeal. For my part, I shall reach out to Arun. I believe that's their brother. Perhaps together we can find a way to offer similar comfort to the elementals. I've no doubt we will require their assistance in the days ahead. Thank you, sister. May the 12 watch over and keep you both. May I trouble you to accompany me? The presence of a storied hero would surely lend credence to my claims that people's difficulties will soon be at an end. Don't worry, that's what I'm here for. While you attend to that, I shall gather what information I can from the wood whalers stationed here. Pray look for me at camp proper when you have finished. Speak with Kane-san. Hunter Scholar. Another day, another adventure after an elite mark. Oh yeah, the Hunter Scholars tell you what hunt targets can spawn in this area. C ones are just specific enemies you search for by getting a specific targeting thing for them in one of the main cities. B ranks are weekly. Yeah, the C rank ones refresh daily, the B rank ones refresh weekly, and the ranks A and S only spawn under very specific circumstances, although nowadays they've all been cataloged, so it's pretty easy for anyone dedicated to hunt targets to just get a train going where they go after all of them in sequence. If we are to convince people that they need not live in fear of Glypnir, then my words alone may be insufficient. I do not comport myself as an imposing figure blessed with martial prowess, to say the least. You, on the other hand, are renowned as a peerless warrior who has triumphed in countless trials. Simply looking at your features fills me with confidence that this crisis, too, shall pass. I pray you stay by my side, and those we speak with may be joyed by your presence. She will now be accompanying you. Keep her at her side in order to proceed with the objectives. Okay, another follower quest line. Need to farm some more tomes from higher level endgame stuff in order to get, well, less endgame and just level 90 in general. Actual endgame like raids, you don't really need to go that, you don't really need to farm before you get there. And that's one of the things I like about this game. It doesn't really put too many barriers between you and doing the stuff you want to do. If you want to raid, it's actually not too hard to get what you need to start. Likewise, if you want to do those hunts like I mentioned, you can actually do so very easily. You just... Well, first of all, some people schedule hunts on them on their own. And you can join them. If not, you can just stay in a... You can ask around a main city, or... I actually think there's Discord I actually think there's entire Discord servers dedicated to following them. So yeah. While you do need to have your gear at a certain item level, just doing level 90 basic dungeons are more than sufficient. And to get anything you need to get you ready for raid and stuff, like I said, it's very easy. And even then, I've got, as you can see, I've got a decent amount of raw cash. I can just, if I need to, and if all else fails, I can just buy crafted gear, because you can use those as well to do raids. So there's definitely more than one way to handle most things in this game, which I do appreciate. Seed Seers are sudden prey with their guards and firing. What do they care for beasties amok? They'll be fine. That's why they're doing nothing while they hunt us. We fools just trust our lives to people who don't care. Or a wit. Aye, past time we went south, at least in Ul'dah, they don't pretend to look out to the common man. Elder Seed Seer, I was, just that we are sparing no effort in our hunt for Gleipnir. However, it will take time, and more may suffer before the beast is laid low. Nonetheless, I do ask you, place your faith in me, if only a while longer. I love the Twelves Wood and our people with all my heart. I will not let our enemy torment us forever. I understand. Man's got to give voice to his worries from time to time. I am nothing I want less than to abandon my home. I mean, I'll stick around for now. The general sense is pretty difficult to uproot, even when a tragedy strikes. Restive man. I saw it, a gargantuan beast stalking the woods with the horns the size of my leg. What's to stop it from coming here to fill its belly? Gleipnir will do no such thing, I swear. I shall see to it personally. The blasphemy does not come within a mile of this village. Keep heart, for the brighter days lie ahead. Truly, Elder Seedseer. Perhaps I let my imagination get the best of me. You're a beacon in these dark times. I pray you restore the peace soon. I shall, and you can be certain. Distraught woman. Single scratch is enough to spell one's doom, they say. Nothing but to wait for death to come. How can we face a beast like that? Do not give to despair, my friend. Know that I'll do all my power to see us through this crisis. Hold fast to hope and encourage others to do so as well. I'll try, Elder Seedseer, I try. I know you've placed yourself at risk, leaving the safety of the city and coming here, and that means a lot to me and mine. I'll stay close to the whalers and pray news of your triumph reaches us soon. Thank you, I promise that it will not be long. All Connie Senna can really do right now is make promises to people. I can understand why they're upset. I mean, promises are cheap. They don't... But at the same time, it's not like... Well, believe me, if they could just point me in the direction of Gleipnir, and I hit it with my gunblade a few times, I would be more than happy to do that. But, like I said, I have a strong feeling that it was a hunter in its previous life, and so it's making sure to cover its tracks so that it's difficult to follow. After all, skilled hunters try to make it so that it's very difficult for animals to track them, or to catch them, seeing them after all. Will this be all for now, Elder Seedseer? I will. It will. I have done what I can to quell the unrest, but as long as Gleipnir lives, they will never be at peace. Out of curiosity, do you self-doubt your chosen course? Nay, not in the slightest. The shortest path to a destination is often not the best, and today was a woke reminder of that truth. Mayhap I should visit these settlements more often. Doubtless some here think me as distant as the elementals. So rarely do they see me in the outer reaches. You have served me admirably as protectors thus far, for which I am grateful. Yet until we've found and laid Gleipnir low, I must continue to impose upon your goodwill. 'Tis no imposition, Elder Seedseer. You saved me on the killing fields of Cartano. My life is yours, now and always. Your life is your own to command, but I thank you for your words, and your conviction, which fills me with confidence. The path we walk is true. Even if that path takes us far afield. Did I ever tell you that when I was a young student I would often steal into the woods with a dear friend of mine, much to the chagrin of our teacher? Deep down, I suspect there is a part of me that yearns to wander where I should not. Huh. Never expected that she'd, feel that way, but it does make sense. Elder Seeds here, word from the border. We have ourselves a bloody mess by the sound of it. What has happened? Per your earlier instructions, the whalers closed the roads to all travel while we scoured the woods for Glipnir, but now a group of locals are demanding to be let through into Thon. Terrified by the sound of it, screaming about creeping death, gods know what else. Despair grips their hearts. If it consumes them wholly, we may yet have more blasphemies to contend with. I'll speak with them. Wild rumors fuel their panic, and with truth and compassion will I convince them to see reason and return to their homes. If anyone can, it is you, Elder Seedseer. We're doing our best to keep them calm, but my man's words painted a grim picture. I pray you make your way to the border as quickly as you can. We may be a bit too late, unfortunately. After all, well, not all of these quests have us fight something, actually. I mean, even the healer one a while ago had a few pure dialogue, I guess, situations. So far, I've noticed these role quests seem to largely be dealing with the storylines that were tying into the previous expansions. With this one, of course, also tying into Realm Reborn. That's quite a while ago, actually. Stop wasting time. Glad we arrived when we did. Any later, we might have met with a bloodied sight. The people here are indeed terrified. I must take care with my words. Going through whether you like it or not. I can see why they want to flee to Thon for supposedly a safer situation, but... Well, first of all, we know that the desert has had some issues. No, oh wait, no, the Ul'dah storyline was connected with the Alamigo one, which makes sense. Those two have a lot of connection story-wise. Let us through, damn you. We're standing here while the creeping death nips at our heels. They're telling us to die. Those rumors are false. The Elder Seeds here herself has sent word. The creeping death is not responsible for these incidents. You mustn't surrender panic. Return to your homes while we deal with the threat and pay no heed to baseless stories. Stories? Stories! I've seen the dead with my own eyes. Don't tell me what is and isn't true. Hearken to me, my friends. I come before you now to assure you the creeping death has not returned, and only those who have been wounded by Glipnir are in danger. So I beseech you to take shelter in your homes until the threat has passed. Glipnir, the beast I saw in the wood. We have to run. It could have followed us. You saw him? Where? Not far from here. The glistening horns, the terrible chains, reaching out to drag you into the seventh hell. We ran, never looked back. But don't worry, I didn't catch any of us. No one's marked, see? That means we're safe, right? But say we weren't quite fast enough, what then? He's holding his arm. Does that mean thorns and claw where the poison resides? Even a scratch would be a cause for concern. So he was hit. But it sounds like the creeping death was spread from person to person after they caught it, while Glipner's poison seems to be purely to whoever it attacks. Even a little scratch. Then is it too late for me? My body feels like it's on fire. You told me the branches tripped you up. You said that's how it happened. You said. Heavenly winds guide us, the font of strength. May we drink from it and be made whole. Fortunately, even white. I don't feel any better. Do it again. Do it again. Overhealing doesn't help you as much as people think it does. It hurts. Help me. Laundry has no effect. There can be no mistake. This is Gleipnir's doing. Even so, I ask you do not lose heart. Stay strong, for if we surrender to fear, the beast has already won. Unfortunately, that's very easy to say. Yeah. No, I don't want to die. Help me. This is going to end up very bad very soon. Oh dear. Exactly as I feared. But, get back. These things hit like trucks. I'm the tank. I'm going to hold it off. You said it wasn't. Why? Liars, all of you. None of us are safe. None of us. Despair made manifest. 12 forfend. Is there naught else that can be done for these souls? Not at this point. I'm sorry. All we have left to do is to fight. Not but one thing, I know. We must lay them to rest. Contain the threat. Two of them, huh? Shouldn't be too bad. These guys might be a bit more durable than the others, so... Don't get to see too much of it there, but yeah. Basically, I have to weave the skills between the global cooldown, the one that's 2.5 seconds. I can't take it. What kind of life is this, waiting to be hunted or turned into one of them? Matron, have mercy. What were those fiends? The creeping death seems like a mercy end compared to that. We did what we had to do. If we let those fiends live, the blood of many would have been on our hands. Yeah, this, well, you can question it a little, but we have to act first and ask questions after. To steal a quote, we can save our tears for later. We'll have ample cause to shed them, for good or ill. 'Twas not the poison which triggered the transformation, but despair. Overwhelming despair. Exactly. There at peace. Would that it had not come to this. I was powerless to prevent it. Did all you could, Elder Seedseer. Is that what's going to happen to us? Is there no hope? What you witnessed was the fate of those who fall into the deepest despair. It feeds upon grief and anguish, and is more deadly than Glypnir itself. As I swore to you that we shall defeat the blasphemy that haunts our homeland, so too do I swear that despair shall not be the end of us. Keep the faith, look to the horizon for brighter days to come. As you say, Elder Seedseer, as you say. Glypnir is not here, so you are free to return to your homes, but I urge you to take care on the path back. We will, Elder Seedseer. The storm has passed, but a darker tempest rolls in the distance. So long as the specter of despair looms, the people will struggle to take any words of comfort to heart. We will see more tragedies like this. The elementals too cry out for a solution. The longer we struggle to resolve the crisis, the more innocent lives we put at risk. Raya O said we need to turn the elementals for assistance, and I know that she was right. So I will seek an audience with the Great One. However, there are preparations I must attend to first. I shall make the proper ablutions at the Lotus Stand. Pray return the Adder's Nest and await my summons. Yeah, there's a lot of rituals and stuff. But, well, they can... Alright, let's head back to Gridania. I probably shouldn't go into too much detail since they're about to show it directly, I imagine. Alright. I do like that Gunbreakers have a nice, pure, have some decent self-sustain. You can also use this on a Aurora here. Grants regeneration for a little bit. Always nice. You can also put on a party member. In the general sense, it feels like Gunbreakers have a decent amount of self-sustain, but not nearly as much as Warriors. Warriors are... Right now, the fan base memes that Warriors are green tanks because they can actually keep your entire party healed if one knows what they're doing. A Gunbreaker, I could probably keep... If I lose the healer, but we keep going, I could probably keep myself alive just fine, but I wouldn't be able to keep the party alive, unfortunately. I imagine Paladins would probably be about on par... I guess Paladins would probably be the in-between, because Paladins have a really good single-target heal they can use on themselves or allies. Despite our best efforts, we've been unable to prevent further loss of life. I foresee even greater hardship ahead. As we press on, we mustn't forget the words of the Elder Seedseer. We must strive to remain undaunted in the face of despair. Easier said than done, but that is absolutely true all the same. She's preparing for her communion with the Great One. When the time is right, she will call upon us both. Until then, my friend, stay strong. Gift undone. Tired eyes and slumped shoulders, the keeper of entwined serpents bespeaks weariness. The situation has worsened since we last spoke. Glipnir grows bolder in his attacks, and the conjurers are spread thin in efforts to attend the victims. Moreover, we are no closer to finding a means to counteract the blasphemy poison. No choice but to wait until death claims them. Some are overwhelmed with hopelessness, becoming mad beasts that lash out at their former countrymen. Such tragedies all too easily beget further tragedy, as bereaved loved ones are in turn overcome and share the same horrid fate. People speak of these incidents in hushed whispers, afraid that at a moment a monster may appear within their midst. We could find a cure for its poison, that would give us at least buy us some time. Indeed, let's hope the Elder Seedseer's efforts to enlist the aid of the elementals successful. I imagine didn't matter which I selected there, and that united we may at last cleanse the 12's wood of this evil once and for all. Urgent news, Coda. Glipnir has ambushed a party of wood whalers. They're engaged the blasphemy near the guardian tree where the Great One slumbers. This bodes ill. Has it divined the Elder Seedseer's intent? Is it attempting to prevent her from communing with the elementals? In any case, we cannot let Glipnir harm the tree. The Elder Seedseer bade us rendezvous with her at Sorrel Haven. Let's head there at once. The Great One is the biggest tree in the forest, and I believe it houses the Elder Elemental. Here. Alright. The tree itself is over here. Kind of commands a presence, doesn't it? There's a handful of quests that revolve around it, so rest assured it is a pretty important tree in the game lore. Here's the destination. Stool. Oh, I was wondering why I couldn't target that enemy. It's part of a fate. You speak with that person to start it. I do like how these toadstools disguise as regular mushrooms, then they just grow huge and walk around. I like that one there. Destination? Let's see here. Surveying. Let's keep a lookout at the designated... Battered arms and armor are strewn across the ground, but there is no trace of man or blasphemy. Oh dear. Oh, he has an invisible... Interesting. Here we are. Looks like they were turned, either killed or turned. Yeah, the fact there's not even any bodies left implies they were turned, unfortunately. I see, I think I know what happened here, though I pray that I am wrong. I was attacked by 2 of these blasphemy witches. So there's no sign of the wood whalers save their arms and armor, seasoned warriors that never cast aside their equipment, but here lies and not a single body. In the face of certain death, even the bravest among us can succumb to despair. Before the blasphemy's poison took them, they transformed. That seems like the most likely explanation, yes. Glipnir could not have gone far. He may be watching us even now. Be on your guard, then the air is thick with corruption. If the wood whalers succumb to a man, we expect a hard fight. Though I dread the thought of hurting our brave soldiers, we cannot allow the creatures they've become to roam free. Let us form 2 groups to more quickly track down and cull the beasts. Once we've finished, we can regroup under the boughs of the guardian tree. I was gonna say this seems to be going by surprisingly quickly, but I guess that was just for the introduction. Surveying. You sense a very hostile presence. Yeah, before Burst Strike was usually just a skill used while Gnashing Fang was on cooldown, but now that it has a bit of a follow-up of its own, it's worth thinking about since it gives a decent amount of burst damage. Less damage overall, but you can get it out a lot faster. Just adds a nice extra layer of sorts. Let's see, you're surveying. You sense a very hostile presence. Double down. That's a nice animation, actually. I haven't gotten a chance to use double down too much since it's the skill you get at level 90, and I just hit it today, but still, it's a really neat one. Also, 1200. Although I guess that just means it's the equivalent of, Fell Cleave, I believe, is the warrior version. Alright, well, I can worry about that later. You've laid to rest the last of the turned whalers. Reunite with your companions. Oh, they're in the Lunar whale mount. That was the one you could get for pre-ordering the game. Or, not pre-ordering Endwalker itself. I could probably still get it now if I paid for the digital upgrade, but I usually don't feel that necessary for it. Besides, I already have a mount that holds up to 4 people in the Final Fantasy 15 crossover event. Or I can show it in a bit, actually. She is. Our work is done, then. The loss of so many brave souls is tragic, but now they are at peace, and the guardian tree is safe. Let us take comfort in that. But I pray the Great One will hear my plea. Fortunately, since we know that becoming a blasphemy completely removes a person's ether, basically their matter, and replaces it with dynamis, basically an antimatter, I don't even know how that'll work, honestly. But then again, she's probably just saying it more in the metaphorical sense. Long story short, this game doesn't really... The universe this game takes place in doesn't really have an afterlife per se. Rather, each planet has a life stream where energy from it is used to give birth to new life within it. It's from the people to animals and all that. And when they die, they return to it, which is indeed meant to cause a cycle. You can see the kind of cycle it does. However, that works with ether, basically their version of matter, and dynamis is a bit something that's poorly understood. I don't even know how that works. It's possible no one knows. But yeah, like I said, she's probably doing it to try and keep their spirits up. Alright, she's using doing her commune. Ooh. Ah! Look, that looked painful. Elder Seedseer, are you hurt? The Great One is filled with fear. An all-consuming fear like I've never felt. He spoke unto me, and its words were clarion. Drive the evil away, drive the evil away. Ah, drive the evil away. It can think of naught else, and so we will not receive the aid we seek, not until we can dispel the dread that claws the force very heart. No, this was our last hope. Something's moving. We are not alone. And I don't mean that in a good way. So, that's the beast Glypnir itself. There could be no mistake. This is the profane beast, a blasphemy which has mired the Twelves with despair. Glypnir. Stay back! It makes for the guardian tree. We must stop it. The poison. You mustn't let it touch you. Such fearsome strength. Ah. Yeah. Hey. You still gotta get through me, buddy. As a tank, my very job is to keep them enemies focused on me. Damn it, not now. Alright, Echo, who was this person? Isumion. In accordance with our covenant, we Padjal have been blessed by the elementals. From the moment we are chosen, we are bound to act as mediators between man and nature. Oh yeah, that's something I forgot to mention about them. The Padjal all started out as either humans or some other race. When they are chosen and they accept, they are turned into the horned humans they are now. Most skilled among us are honored as seed seers, and it is their duty to guide Gridania through times both poor and prosperous. I cannot say which of you will be found more worthy. In my estimation, both have the potential to become a seed seer. Or of that I become more certain by the day. There's two of them. So... So there's two of them, but one of them is Jolly Girl. But I don't want to be Seed Seer. I never wanted to be Padjol either. I never asked for... Oh, I thought they had to accept, but I guess not. Yeah, the elementals are about as whimsical as you'd expect forest spirits to be. They do follow rules and guidelines of their own. In fact, that seems to be... They seem flat out compelled to follow laws and such, but... Why can't I live a normal life like everyone else? How come I don't get to grow old? Why was I cursed with these ugly horns? And whenever they're chosen, they cease to age from that point onward. I like them. Maybe we didn't choose to be born this way. Oh. But I don't think that makes us different from anyone else. It's a rare gift, a blessing even. And if we can use this to help others, then we should. Don't give up being a seed seer, Kane. Honey. We'd be all the worse for it. Oh, so this is Kane-sana when she was younger. She looks all older now, though. A blessing. I never thought of it that way. I suppose I just hated not having a choice, but maybe you're right. Then again, maybe because she was the elder seed seer, the leader of all of them, she was made it specifically made to have an older appearance. Oh. Alright, so this is someone from Kane's past. This might also be why he recognizes her to some level. It ran off. It fled. Not out of fear, but because it wanted to. First things first, now that the immediate threat is past, let's make sure she's in good shape here. Or at least what we can. Unfortunately, a healer's barrier being broken is very painful, as Y'shtola would attest. Matron is merciful. The elder seed seer has fallen unconscious, but is otherwise unharmed. The blasphemy must not have touched her, for I do not see any telltale mark of poison. Still, I am no healer, and she should be looked after by those who are. I shall carry her back to Gridania. We must leave before Glipnir returns. Await me at Adder's Nest, if you please. And once she comes to, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask some very uncomfortable questions. But uncomfortable but necessary if we wish to find out who this was. By extension, how we can stop them. Allow me to thank you again for your assistance. The Elder Seed Seer has been delivered into the care of Sumiyan. By the grace of the Elementals, will she make a full recovery. In fact, she's already regained consciousness, but is not allowed to receive visitors. We can but wait for now. Alright, but we're gonna have to be visitors soon. Damn it! I was useless. I could do nothing while the Elder Seed Seer faced Glipnir alone. I was to be your shield, that I stand before you while she lies abed as proof of my failure. I want to say... The immediate thing I want to say is she wouldn't have wanted you to throw your life away, because if he got hit by the poison, then he'd have died and nothing else happened. But I think this is going to be more immediately helpful, because first of all, she's still alive, and second, she still requires his protection, so that'll give him something to focus on for the immediate moment. You truly are the hero of whom bards sing, aren't you? You've suffered terrible trials, yet you still stand tall and resolute. Thank you for your counsel. How close I came to forgetting the lessons of my past. Lessons of your past? I've spoken of it to few. Truth be told, it brings me shame to recall it. It does? How so? See, I fought at Cartano, not as a soldier of the Eorzean Alliance, but as a conscript of the Garlean Imperial Army. Clad in armor and magitech, another drop in a sea of pitiless metal. You grow numb to violence and killing out of necessity. It becomes routine, work to earn your next meal. But when the moon shattered and the dragon emerged, when the dust had settled, I was another body clinging to life amongst the fallen. I remember staring at the burning sun above, growing weaker, wondering if the heat or an Eorzean's blade would finish the job. But it wasn't death that came, but salvation. I was delivered from my will-earned fate by the Elder Seedseer. She deigned to save a man who once bared steel against her people. Hey, she's a white mage, basically the closest thing to a doctor around here, possibly even the top one. She knows that when a person comes in the hospital, the uniforms come off, so to speak. Kindness didn't end there. Once my wounds were healed, she welcomed me with open arms. Never did she regard me with distrust, nor did she make me feel obligated to repay my debt. Seedseers can read emotions to an extent, if I remember right, and if so, that's probably how she knew he would be trustworthy, that he'd be fine. She fought not to take life, but to safeguard it. Through our friendship, I came to see the wisdom in that distinction, and pledged my remaining years to her service. Would have accomplished nothing to throw myself against Glipnir in vain, and even if there was profit to be found in sacrifice, she would not abide by it. Your words serve to remind me of this. We will defeat the blasphemy, aye, but we will do so without forsaking that which we hold dear. This I swear. Sounds good to me. A pact proven. The Keeper has good news to share. Coda, the Elder Seedseer has grown strong and to receive visitors. Come, we must go to Stillglade Fawn at once. Nofika's altar. It'll probably be faster if I teleport. Alright, let's go over here then. Here we are, Conjurer's Guild. Old Gridania. Might be good to just sprint, since this is a pretty long area. Ah, here we are. Bit of a walk, though nothing harrowing or anything. Ah, she's back. Eldest Seedseer, it fills my heart with joy to see you in better health. I'm gladdened by your presence as well, my friend, and lest you wonder, know the conjurers found no trace of poison in my humors. If you are ready, I would resume the search for Glipnir. That may be up to, they may be up to the task, but you are not. 'Tis one thing to engage in conversation, quite another to go gallivanting in the Twelves Wood hunting a blasphemy. I am aware you are a conjurer of surpassing skill, and would not presume to gainsay your judgment. Have my wounds not healed? Those visible to the naked eye, perhaps. I worry the strain of your communion, however, with the Great One, however, has taken a toll on you in ways we may struggle to perceive. The Great One is the being of purest ether, and you are exposed to its unbridled despair, its raw terror. There may be consequences. I am aware of that, but Glipnir must be stopped. Until the blasphemy is laid low, people will continue to die. How am I to carry out my duties cloistered here? How am I to deliver the forest and its people from despair? It is your duties that you and it is your duties that demand you remain. I understand your frustration, but if you were to fall in battle, if the guiding light you bear were to fade, then all of Gridania would be lost. Rest, Connie. Rest and gather your strength so that when the time comes, you're fit to do what must be done. In the meantime, trust your allies. You are right. That said, I see no reason I cannot join in planning our next step, as you said. A conversation is quite unlike as you said before, conversation is quite unlike gallivanting on a hunt. Our encounter with Glipnir made it plain we cannot hope to triumph over it as we are. Only with the Great One's power can we achieve victory. When the seventh umbral calamity was nigh, the Great One committed a portion of its boundless strength to extend a barrier over heaven and earth, the Ermin Hedge. Thus was the Twelves Wood spared the worst. If we can convince it again to lend us even a small measure of that power, we would near not fear the poison. Therefore, I believe we should pour our efforts into placating the elementals, that we might earn their favor. Oh, we must make your voice heard then, yes? Indeed, we must find a way to assure the Great One of our good intentions, to remind that we labor not for its destruction, but salvation. I think, too, that we must gain a great understanding of what drives Glipnir. It seems to bear a particular resentment towards the elementals, the Great One in particular. Why? I ponder that question myself. Lingering memories of the person Glipnir once was may be responsible. Reports from Razat Han suggest this may be likely the case, in fact. If we could but ascertain the identity of the blasphemy, but where are we to even begin our investigation? Actually, I did get to peer into its memories. You were granted a vision of Glipnir's past, and I was there. Then I may know who he is, or rather, who he was. As do I, the boy who trained along Kane, he in her youth. Iya Supin, after all these years, is this what's become of him? Ah, you mentioned him briefly before. Were you close? Isura was a Pajali like me, but he had never known his parents and devoted himself wholly to his studies. He embraced the role force had bestowed upon him, and truth be told, he was a much better student than I ever was. A fair assessment. Despite your esteemed heritage, you never took to my lessons as well as he, ever dreaming of the outside world, stealing off in the woods more times than I could count. I could not keep watch over you at all hours, not even if I tried. The Elder Seedseer, a rebellious spirit? I can scarce imagine it. Yeah, that's what I was mentioned before. I resented being a Pajal. It was inconceivable to me that I could not live among the others, that I did not scruple to express my misgivings to Samayan at every opportunity. Isura was a pillar of constant support. It was thanks to his encouragement that I at last embraced my destiny and resolved to use my gifts for the greater good. We would become seed-seers together, I believed, until one fateful day when we were gathering herbs at Sumiyan's behest. We met a wanderer hailing from a distant land who told us his beloved was with child, that he traveled to Gridania to beseech the Great One for a painless birth. He asked us to guide him to the guardian tree. However, entry into sacred places was not ours to permit. There was something odd about his demeanor. With regret, I refused him, but Isura was loath to turn away a goodly stranger in need. He agreed to guide the man, despite my protestations. I ran to Isumiya as fast as I could, and together we made haste to the guardian tree. Found the man motionless on the ground, having succumbed to the Great One's rage. Next to him was Isura, alive but unconscious. In time, he recovered and related the whole story. In truth, the man was an adventurer, a seeker of wealth and glory. And as he knelt to make the false supplications, he lunged forward to tear a branch of the guardian tree. He was yet a child, and Isra had no inkling of the darkness that could dwell within man's hearts. He learned the lesson that day, but the price he paid was great indeed. The Great One stripped Isra of his horns, and with them the right to call himself a Pajal. I was forced to expel him from the fane. I never saw him again, nor heard word of what became of him, though not for lack of trying. Despite his hardships, did he remain in the Twelveswood all this time, I wonder? He dreamt of naught else but becoming a seed seer, of a life of service to the people in the forest. He knew the weight of responsibility and was eager to bear it. But he was deprived of that purpose by the very elementals he loved, and yet he did not lose the will to serve, I suspect, and instead resolved to watch over the Twelveswood in his own way. I shudder to think what could have hastened his transformation to Gleipnir, as if his life was not harsh enough. Something must have set him off in particular, but it seemed like his biggest despair was in his past. In our final conversation, Isra confided in me that he would search for a means to calm the Great One's rage and earned absolution. To that end, he said he would seek the counsel of Moogle. They called the Twelveswood home for far longer than we have, and so none are more likely to have knowledge of its most hidden workings. That comes as no surprise. He would not give up so easily on his dream. Even if the Moogles know naught of Aesura, they may be able to help us in other ways. We traveled to the Bramble Patch in my stead, Coda. I have faith they will accept you with their characteristic aplomb. As long as they're not from the Sea of Clouds, the Heavensward Moogles were the ones that, they just had a bunch of really annoying quests, and so, joke is that nobody likes them. During an interview, the devs even mentioned when they made the much more fairy-like pixies in the Shadowbringers areas, they were scared that people would hate them like they hated the Moogles, but it seems like they went over a lot better with the fans. Dang. Funny that, speaking of flying in the Realm Reborn areas, after they introduced flying in Heavensward, naturally the fans immediately asked to have flying added retroactively to the Realm Reborn areas as well. Devs kept going on and on, it's too much work, we'd have to go through changing the entire maps, add skyboxes. Not to mention maps were not designed with flight in mind, hence why I was able to get here pretty much directly, while you can see clearly they intend you to go around. But eventually they just said they've announced we're going to be implementing flying in the Realm Reborn areas. Yeah, it was a lot of work. Yeah, it was a lot of work. Yeah, it was just so much, but we decided to do it anyway. Wait, Whisker Wall. Surely you see that I'm armed. If it's all the same to you, we don't want any. Move along. Huh, quite a peculiar face you have, Kupo. Familiar, too. You happen to be the self-same warrior that gave the legendary Moggle's Guard, what for? Kota, was it? Ah, it's an honor to meet you. Allow me to thank you personally for bringing that silliness to an end. Bringing that silliness to an end. But yeah, basically a bunch of Moogles end up summoning King Moggle based off the Great Moogle of Legend. It's actually a pretty fun fight, since you have to fight a handful of Moogles before King Moggle shows up. Then Moggle revives all the dead Moogles, and you have to defeat them in a certain order. Or at least that was how it used to be. Nowadays, if you're doing them, it's not quite as easy. Ah, it's an honor to meet you. Allow me to thank you personally for bringing that silliness to an end. Quapika is the name. What brings you to our neck of the Twelveswood? We're looking for a way to... Why, what a pleasant coincidence. We were just discussing how we ought to go calming the elementals, Kupo. That blasphemy with dreadful horns got them on edge, and for good reason. I had to ask my personal guard here to sleep with one eye open. In case you haven't noticed, the beast's corruption has been spreading through all the Twelveswood. Needless to say, we've all got to stand up and put the Twelveswood to rights. Raya O suggested the Moogles contribute by scouring the forest for even the smallest signs of taint. Got to cleanse it before it gets out of hand, you know. Difficult and time-consuming work, but if it's in service to the forest, we'll do it gladly, Kupo. I know you. You're the adventurer that gave me some of my finest scars. Cup de Coop of the Moggles Guard. No hard feelings about the whole Hail the King bit, I hope. I thought he looked familiar. But yeah, he was one of the ones you fight in the boss fight. Not going to call for a rematch either, in case you're worried about that. Ryo and the others cured us of our tempering, and afterwards sat us down for a stern lecture. No more calling upon good King Moggle Mog the 12th for us. May he ever remain unsummoned in his royal grace and splendor. Indeed, and what better way to make up for past indiscretions than to serve the realm? Even now our kin scour every ilm of the Twelves would, and we would be remiss not to do our part. We'd be overjoyed to have a hero such as you helping us as well, if you're willing. Something tells me you have a sharp eye for the taint we seek to cleanse. Can we count on you? Your reputation for magnanimity is well deserved. Let's begin by moving to higher ground that we may survey the area to locate any particularly nasty spots of light. You know, funny thing is, don't think people would have been all that miffed if they didn't have flying in the Realm Reborn areas because, oh dang, I guess you do need flight for this though. Because in the general sense, all the Realm Reborn areas are actually quite tiny. Which I say as the Sylph lens is actually quite large. Larger than it actually needed to be if I remember the quest there right, but I don't know actually. Now that I think about it, still don't think this is anywhere near as big as any of the... Like, if you go to the Endwalker, if you take a look at my Endwalker streams, I'm pretty sure the areas there are all way larger than this. Oh, you were able to make your way up here after all. I was worried you'd be stuck. Apologies for leaving you behind, but so easy to forget your kind lack wings, Kupo. Now then, where is it? There, to the south. Let us cleanse that festering taint at once. Actually, now that I think about it, you almost never have to go in these Sylphlands, period, if you're just doing the normal storylines. That's really just there if you want to do the Sylph quest. Aquapuka. The grass here is so brittle, Kupo. Restoring this area will surely put the pep in one step, if it has feet, that is. If it had feet, that is. Sense a hostile presence. There we are. Neat effect. Alright. Corrupted Sprite defeated. That was some fine work, Kupo. I dare say it's even in better shape than it was before. The others are doubtless flittering about, stamping out corruption wherever it rears its hideous head. If I were the Great One, I'd be applauding our efforts, well insofar as a being without hands can clap, I suppose. How goes the cleansing? Could it be Koopa? I did what I could, but I swear, as soon as I finish with one, two more start manifesting with fresh paint. The force ability to heal itself is waning, and the sickness is spreading too fast even for a legion of Moogles to manage. If we don't come up with a better solution soon. The situation is more grave than we imagined, Kupo. What do we do? We should maintain our efforts to purify the forest regardless, but since there are only so many of us, we must also help the forest remember how to help itself. Brilliant idea, Kupo, I think. How do we do that? I was just thinking that part, Kupo. Got it. We perform the friending. The friending? What in the name of good King Moggle Mog, may he shower us with love and compassion and Koopa nuts, is that? Truth be told, I couldn't remember the ancient rites name, so I kind of made it up on the spot, Kupo. But let's forget about that now and move on to stuff I do remember. It's an old ceremony, first performed when the nation of Gridania the nation of Gridania was but a spark in the eye of a random thought in its founders' heads. They knew that if they were able to establish a home in the Twelves wood, they would first need to entreat the elementals for permission. So a mage in their company found and cleansed a few sources of foul ether, planting saplings in their place, and consecrated the soil with a prayer to show the forest the purity of their intentions. The elementals were so taken by this display, not only did they permit the people to settle within the forest, they also bestowed upon them their blessing as proof of the new covenant. Quo. I remember now, the Gridanians still honor the agreement to this day. For every tree cut down, a sapling's planted. So if we follow history's example, we can soothe the forest's pain and also nourish it with new life. That's right, Kupo. Oh, but I wasn't finished the story. Remember the mage who planted those saplings? It was none other than Joran, the father of Aehok Poda, the very first Pejal. From that day forward, the elementals would bless a select few hearers with horns, favoring them in the fellowship. Pejal were exalted by all the people of Twelveswood, and even we Moogles look up to them with awe, and that's how it all began. Interesting. Alright, so it is only here. I couldn't remember if others were applied or not. Something wrong, Kupo. You have a strange look on your face. Glipnir himself may be a Pajal, a former Pajal, rather. Oh, how dreadful, Kupo. What exactly are you saying? So that results in its being especially dangerous to humans. So you think... So the man you think may have become the Glipnir was a Pajal stripped of his blessing, and the blasphemy kills with a poison that manifests symptoms similar to creeping death. I feel sorry for this Aesura. To love the elementals only be shunned by them, be surrounded by beauty of the Twelveswood, and know that he will be forever an outsider, all for a child's mistake. That despair could easily cause him to turn, and this poison that preys upon those who bear the Twelveswood blessing they hear, just as the creeping death once did, might be another manifestation of that despair. That's the running theory, anyway. That would explain the elemental's unease, Kupo. We must redouble our efforts to plant saplings, or they may never speak to us again. Indeed. Well, first things first, we must gather as many saplings as we can. Coda, wait for us at Adder's Nest, and be ready to make for a long and back-breaking day. New Gridania. Long. I guess I didn't need to go into the Pajali history because the game here explained it a lot better than I did. Oh well, that's to be expected sometimes, although to be fair, I didn't know how much detail they'd go into. Elementals are indeed about, like I said, they're forest spirits and about as whimsical as you'd expect. I mean, Leshy from Inscription definitely wouldn't feel out of place among them. If I remember right, the original 1.0 had some kid from Gridania frustrated that they had to do the rites and stuff to please the elementals because he was convinced they didn't exist, so he tries to burn down the big holy tree over there, and as a result ends up getting turned to stone. Likewise, during one cutscene when the Garleans attempt to invade the forest, they didn't have any kind of magic protection on them, and that allowed the elementals to basically just unmake them. It was actually a rather horrifying display. And yeah, that's why when Garleans started invading other places in Eorzea, they made sure to bring stuff that would help protect them from magic. Simply because stuff like that was, well, horrifying, to be blunt. Alright, I don't need to speak with these guys, but Keeper of the Entwined Serpents. Welcome back, Coda. Did the Moogle have any insights into our problems? A reenactment of the ceremony which laid the foundation of Gridania, a fitting plan given the gravity of the threat our nation now faces. As ever, there's much work to be done before we can even begin. While the Moogles gather saplings, we shall continue to scour the Twelveswood for new beasts that must be purged. Let us pray the Elder Seedseer regain their strength quickly as well. For now, take a rest, my friend. 'Tis a rare indulgence these days. You've earned one you've earned 1,000 times over. Heart's true. Keeper of the Entwined Serpents is on the lookout for the palms in the distance. Glipnir has not been since our last encounter. This brief respite may be our best chance to quell the Great One's terror. Make way for the saplings, Kupo. We've had plenty of practice cultivating our guardians, so selecting the most robust ones is a simple matter. That was the hardest work, so you can help us with the easy part. If you see a spot of corruption, cleanse it, and then plant the sapling in its place, Kupo. Do it enough times, and the Great One is sure to understand what we're doing, though we're doing all we can to heal the forest, which ought to brighten its mood. We'll see you to the East Shroud. You should have no trouble taking care of the rest, Kupo. Your efforts are much appreciated. We'll begin without delay. I trust you will not object to my company. I dare say healing the forest is one task for which I am more qualified than most. Elder Seedseer, are you well enough to leave the city? I like to think I have been for some time. In any event, Isumi has finally grown tired of my objections and ceased his attempts to detain me further. Allow me to be the one to consecrate the saplings. It would be an honor to offer words of thanks to the forest for its bounty. Please do, Kubo. A prayer from the Elder Seedseer herself will surely hasten their growth from tiny sapling to a towering tree. Such is my hope, as Jorin did before me, I shall approach the Great One in friendship, that it might see through the veil of fear that blinds it, and remember our covenant. Sounds good to me. Let's begin by cleansing all traces of corruption in the central shroud. The green tier. I sense the flow of ether has become warped there. Impressive, Kupo. Not even my keen eyes could spot corruption from such a distance. Is but one of the many talents I owe to the elementals. Well then, shall we be on our way? I will just teleport over to Bent Branch then. Alright. Alright, let's go. I shall keep watch for errant beasts. This blight upon the forest must be cleansed. When you have finished, I shall consecrate the sapling and soil with prayer. Dare. There we are. It's been cleansed, but it's only a matter of time until it manifests one more. The corruption is cleansed, but it'll only be a matter of time before it manifests once more. Gratitude for your boundless blessings. I offer this gift. May it nourish you as it nourishes us. At last, the earth is cleansed. There's a settlement not far from here. We should tell them of the sapling, bid them watch over and keep it safe from harm. Of course, Elder Seedseer, I will relay your words forthwith. It will give people hope to know that they can aid in the restoration of the Twelves Wood. Thank you, and now we must go. She's sensing around to find the one. The silent arbor. There's something foul impedes the flow of ether. Let us hurry. The reason I compare ether to matter is because in this game, basically everything's made out of ether. Everything's solid, even things not solid like air. Right? It's basically, as I said, it's pretty much the life force of the planet itself. Which is also why the blasphemies were such a strange phenomenon. They're not made out of any ether in general, which is like something not being made out of matter. Scientifically, it shouldn't exist, and yet it does. Look, the flowers here have withered and died. I shudder to think what the forest would look like if this were allowed to spread. Please see the corruption so that I may bless and plant the sapling. Alright, took out a tainted earth sprite, water sprite, water being now, and then wind sprite was before. I trust the Mughals are planting saplings with suitable solemnity and reverence, but if they're not, let's hope their festivities do not draw Glipnir's eye. Use sapling. The injury has begun to heal, and our next destination lies to the north. Near Hirstmill, I believe? 'Tis faint, for we are far from the source. Nevertheless, I'm certain 'tis there. Come. Hirstmill, that's where the relic quest for the Realm Reborn was. I think I wonder what the Endwalker relic weapon's going to be like. For anyone who doesn't play this game, relic weapons are basically something you do a lot of commitment, a lot of grind to obtain. In return, not only is the weapon itself powerful, but at certain points you can even customize its stats, making it all the more personalized. They also don't go away even after the expansion's long gone, like Relic Reborn. Let's see, Bravar, Gaebog, Spahari. I believe this is the Monk, Warrior, and Dragoon relics. Well, I can worry about unlocking more later. For the moment. So close to the hamlet, is nowhere safe? Oh, is nowhere safe? Where must the people seek shelter from this corruption? She sees something, but it's not a purple smoke thing? 'Tis fortunate the corruption here is faint. A simple prayer should suffice to cleanse the soil, after which we may plant the sapling. Alright, so we don't have to actually fight it this time. That's a nice change of pace. I sense no other disruptions in etheric flow, which leads me to believe the Mughals have already seen to the remainder. Indeed, the Twelves sighs with contentment I have not felt in a long while. But it will serve to placate. But what will it serve to placate the Great One? I cannot say. Not until we visit the Guardian Tree. Excuse me, but you're the LDC's here, aren't you? What brings you all the way to our village? Corruption that had upset the balance of ether. We have since cleansed. We have since cleansed with prayer and saplings. Thus, the Twelves Wood has reclaimed a measure of peace. You've been planting trees? We have. The elementals have suffered a lot as of late, and with these offerings we endeavor to raise their spirits. Elder, I've got to protest. What of your people's spirits? We who dread every step we must take outdoors. The terrible that terrible monster's still out there, preying upon the innocent folk without rhyme or reason. And if it doesn't strike us dead where we stand, its poison will finish the job. I know you are afraid that you and yours suffer still. Of it is under the auspices of the elementals we may call the Twelveswood home, and they too cry out for deliverance. Even the Great One quakes with fear from the blasphemy's continued existence. To ignore their plight is to invite greater tragedy for us all. Rest assured, however, I have not forgotten the needs of the people. We bring comfort to the elementals and renew our sacred ties that we might enlist the aid of the Great One in combating Glipnir, the suffocating despair it spreads. So I pray you continue to put our faith in the Guardians, and in me. Would that we could, Elder Cecia. We've been dealing with death and sickness since before Glipnir's coming. You see, the creeping death's nothing to fear these days, but we know better. One of ours caught it. We gave her the cure, had plenty on hand. For a while, we thought it'd be alright. But by the time we realized it didn't do a damn thing, it was too late to call for a conjurer. Sad day for us all when she passed, but none so far than our husband Supin. He was beside himself with grief, and who could blame him? Then came Glipnir to compound our woes. Supin, it cannot be. Do you speak of Aesura Supin? Aesura? No. Supin was an odd one, but not one no one mistaken for Pajal. It wasn't even his real name. That'd be Alenja. But his wife was fond of calling him Supin for some reason, and caught on with the rest of us. I see, and what did Alenja look like? Well, I'd say he was no more than 30 summers, kept to himself, came and went with the nary a word. Though after he met his beloved, he became more a fixture, friendly even. His wife was a sickly loss, but she had spirit. The spirit's not enough to beat creeping death. Pity we couldn't do anything for her. See, he had finally made a new life for himself here. Thank you for recounting Elenja's story. Sad that it was. It helped me better understand how much you've all suffered. I promise you'll have a cause to celebrate soon, but until then, I implore you again to place your faith in the elementals and me. Together we shall overcome this crisis. So we know precisely what drove Supin to despair. She knew his true name, because he had entrusted her with it. Despite what he said, I'm certain this Alenja was absolutely Aesura Supin. To think that he was living so close by for all these years, searching for new purpose, finding true love, only to be robbed of that fulfillment too. Were he still a Padjal, empowered by the elementals, could he have saved her? He would have dwelt on the question, night after sleepless night. I know I would have. Mayhap in the end, he came to blame the elementals for his helplessness, for her death, and in despair was consumed. Aye, the animosity would linger, endure, and in vengeance would Glipnir find its final purpose. We have done all we can to show the Great One the purity of our intent. Let us hope that we will be accepted as friends. Time to find the Evershade. And what's interesting to note is that his wife had gotten a special case of that sickness, one that wasn't cured, just like the one we have here, but also doesn't spread like the previous one which does imply this is indeed a different version, a different sickness entirely. Suffering was Aesura's constant companion. Nay, it is still. For his sake and ours, we must deliver him peace. Our supplications cannot have escaped the Great One's notice. May it be enough to receive an audience. Well, here's hoping it works. And of course, if Glipnir comes again, well, it says it's only dangerous to hearers, and my character's Makode, so theoretically I should be safe from it, or at least safer. O Great One, may I ever abide beneath your boughs, embraced by your compassion, grace, and wisdom. Be still the fear within your heart, and know that I am your faithful servant. Now, the Elder Seats here is functionally the High Priestess. Looks like it wasn't... It looks like it actually worked this time. Well, she's magically floating. That's a good thing, right? All feeling. The Great One is speaking through her, passing corruption, refreshed, renewed green, flesh restored. Child of child, covenant honored, friendship, peace. It worked. The Great One speaks through the Elder Seedseer. You're right to follow Joran's example. Looks like the Mughals were onto something. We're not out of the woods yet. The corruption is but one aspect of a much greater threat. We beseech you to help defeat Glipnir. Profound. Respawn, despair's orphans, sadness and anger, sadness, death's prayer, one and all. Poison potent, wounds unmending, withering bark, no strength to share. After all we've done, you deny us? After all the Elder Ceasir has endured, she's pledged herself to you, devoted her life to the Twelve's Wood. People cry out for salvation, and she answered. The Elementals cried for deliverance, and she answered. Only you can help us now. If you do not, we are lost. She is lost. Please, I beg of you. He's angry, but with good reason. I beg you. Everyone else we've helped throughout this little storyline. What are you all doing here? We've been dependent on the Seed Seers all our lives, blaming them whenever something goes wrong without considering what we might do ourselves. Aye, but no longer. The Elder Seed Seer has gone into incredible lengths for her people, and so her people have come to return the favor. If her plea alone is not convincing, we'll raise all of our voices in support. We couldn't let them make the journey without protection. That, and we couldn't until let them put us to shame. We too have come to stand with the Elder Seeds here and beseech the Great One for aid. We all want the same thing, don't we? Peace restored to the forest. So please, share what you can, however little. Do not forsake us. Do not forsake her. Ani, Covenant's child, walks with man. The elemental, keeper of the ancient faith. Unbroken. Will not break faith to man. Render up flesh. And you agree to help us? Flesh branches, take and join. To oldest elders, renew bond. As one stir. Rise up to heavens, covenant symbol, our staff. All join, all bloom, all peace. It's a bit hard to follow, but I think I get the general gist of it. And if not, I'm pretty sure they're about to explain it. My duty weighed heavy on my heart, so heavy at times that I scarcely remember to breathe. For days and nights I worried that I would be found wanting. Your faith and your trust has the path... But by your faith and trust has the path forward been revealed to us. You came hither, united in purpose, and bared your hearts before the Great One. Aye, nay, Gridania is forever in your debt. No, 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 no. May I rely on you all once more? I bid you take these branches to every corner of the Twelve's Wood and join them with the eldest trees, that we might finally win free of this despair. It shall be done, Elder Seedseer, we swear it. Once the trees have been bound together in spirit, I shall carry out the Great One's final instruction, cast its cleansing power all across the Twelve's Wood. Yet I must remind you, my friends, that Glypnir still stalks the forest. Do not remain idle. It will attempt to stop us. Go with hope in your hearts, but do not lose sight of danger. Yeah, I figured something like that was necessary, but I figured the game would explain it way better than I ever could. And as expected, that's indeed the case. I'll admit, for a moment I thought that wouldn't work, but the Elder Seeds here moved not only the hearts of the people, but that of the forest itself. The final task appears to be a bit more complicated than the Great Ones made it sound, so she must scour the ancient texts before the time comes, and consult with the Seedseer Council to make sure all goes according to plan. Just as well, we need to wait until the others have joined the Great One's branches to the many ancient trees scattered throughout the Twelveswood. Then, of course, is the matter of Glipnir. He will not go peacefully as we work to hasten his demise, and when he comes, we must be ready. Coconut cod chowder, a Near Eastern soup brimming with shallows cod simmered in silky coconut milk. I've never had chowder now that I think about it. Oh, a path unveiled. The keeper is pleased to see you. Impeccable timing as always, Coda. But moments ago, the Elder Seedseer sent word to go fetch you. But moments ago, she sent word to go fetch with you. She's already on her way and will explain everything herself when she arrives. Children of the Twelveswood, both Moogle and man alike, have sallied forth, branches in hand, far reaches the forest. Soon their task will be completed. Though the shadow of death yet looms large, they do not allow despair in their hearts. They'll hold fast their faith for a brighter future. We shall see their hope rewarded, and by the grace of the elementals, consign these grim days to memory. We need only succeed in summoning the ermine hedge. You may recall the Great One's words were muddled and esoteric. I believe it was an instruction to carry out this esoteric ceremony in order to expunge the corruption befouling the forest. The once tainted earth may begin to mend. For you see, when the ermine hedge last was formed, it was to protect the Twelveswood from threats without. The Great One acted as guardian, embracing the Twelveswood to shield them as father would a child. Yeah, so basically, it had its arms around the Twelveswood, so to speak, to avoid it taking as much damage as the rest. On this occasion, however, we'll call it to nourish and revitalize, as a mother nurses her child to make them strong against sickness. In channeling the power of the elementals this way, we can stem the spread of Glipnir's poison. Scars of its passing will finally heal. At least that's what the Great One intended to say, I believe. The Seedseer Council agrees with my interpretation, and has permitted me to perform the ceremony. I have in my possession a single branch, the final one to be attached to the eldest tree of the Twelveswood. For all that you've done to aid us so far, I ask you accept this honor. Better than to set the final stone, this new foundation for everlasting peace. You've sacrificed so much for the sake of others. If we even had a sliver of your courage, we could move mountains. Thank you, my friend. We'll depart the tree for which I spoke in front of the Leatherworkers Guild. Let us depart. Do-do-do-do-do. Still need to wonder if I can do something more interesting with my outfit. Well, as they say, fashion is true in game. Oh. Never mind. From here, the Great One's blessing will spread across every corner of Gridania, sending all matter of wicked beasts scurrying back to their shadows. Look to the boughs above and you'll see the spot where the bark has been discolored by age and the elements. There you must affix the branch. So I guess I gotta do some climbing. Or is this a jumping puzzle? You ascend the ancient trunk and affix the branch to the weathered bark as directed by the Elder Seedseer. I guess my character's great at climbing things. Well, I guess he is a cat. You're quite the climber, and with that, all preparations are now complete. Let us return to the Guardian Tree, with the aid of the Great One, deliver salvation to the whole of Twelveswood. Thinking about it, I guess it makes sense that the Gridanian storyline would be about faith and loyalty. I mean, that's what a lot of tanks have as their theme. Paladins are elite soldiers in this game. They do have holy knight powers as well, of course. That's just the theme, but... And yeah, they have unyielding oath to their oaths. Warriors control the battlefield through sheer strength. Dark Knights, they uphold truth and justice like paladins do, but they also don't to let the technicalities and letter of the law go through them. They go through the spirit of the law, so to speak, while paladins are a bit more, yeah, I guess if paladins are lawful good, the Dark Knight would be more chaotic good, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And, Gunbreakers, like what I am here, are royal guards, if I remember right. So again, honor, loyalty, that sort of thing. Our journey nears its end. I shall be glad to go to bed again without Gleipnir to haunt my dreams. If it is truly Ishura's lingering resentment for the elemental that drives blasphemy, it will surely come. For the sake of the man he was, I must try to appeal to his reason, but should I fail, we have no recourse but to fight. Regardless, this day we shall bid farewell to Gleipnir, one way or another. Well, here we go. My role above all else would be to make sure that he's focused squarely on me and not on any of our allies. Through the branches of the Guardian Tree, the Twelve's wood is to become as one. In summoning the Ermine Hedge, every inch of these lands will be imbued with the Great One's nourishing ether. The force will be empowered to heal itself, to break free of Gleipnir's despair. The ceremony is complex and delicate. I must maintain focus. I trust you will do what's necessary to see that I am not interrupted. Gleipnir comes. Defend the Elder Seedseer. Blasphemy. Gleipnir. For the record, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing its name correctly, but we're gonna have to make a do, I'm afraid. But the elemental's so deserving of your scorn. You hate me too for my horns. I knew a boy once, a boy who called them gifts. Symbols the blessing he resolved to share with the world. Yet the beast before me now brings not the misery and death, marks its victims with chains to bind and condemn, to share in its suffering. I was not here for you then, but I am here for you now, to unmake what you have become. I shall begin the ceremony. Stand fast, remember what we fight for. That's a reference to Final Fantasy X. Yeah, she's performing Yuna's ceremony. Protect Connie. Yes. The Elder Seedseer must not be disturbed. Protect her. Makes the Elder Seedseer to her side. Oops, I shouldn't have clicked that. Again, I need to remember. Pain is too much to bear. I cannot move. Poison's too strong. I've got shields. Keep the poison away from the damage dealer. Horn of Despair. Ready. Endure. Tap button rapidly. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Must spend up the attack as to survive. I specifically have interject to click on it simply because I want to make sure I never hit it accidentally. It's too important for that. My limbs refuse to move. Ah, I see what he's doing. At the very least, I have to make sure those don't drop on the keeper there. Poison course through veins, causing it periodically become unable to move or perform actions. Ooh, this is not fun. The ceremony is almost complete. Keep flipping her at bay. Out of my asthma. Do not allow it to drift near the Elseers. Well, I'm a tank, so I know what I need to do here. Ah, that hurt like hell. But this is my job. I have to take it so they don't... Or rather, keep them focused on me so they're not distracted. I can scarcely raise my spear. Has the poison taken effect already? Oh, no you don't, buddy. You got an enemy right in front of you. No need to worry about anything else. Oh my. He's calling for help. I cannot allow these... I gotta gather these guys up immediately. Calls upon his wicked minions, bring them to me. They'll fall before my spear. Oops, I hit the wrong button there. Oh, excellent. Wounds are bleeding. There we are. I cannot move. Can I execute this time? I need to interrupt this. Endure. Interrupted. Can I heal him? Yes, I can, actually. Good. Aether's exhausted. I cannot stand. I shall draw his ire. Let me see a portion of your power. Gift ether. Come on, you pitiful beast. Let's see the contents of your innards. My prayers have been heard. Summoning the Ermine Hedge. May your grace shield us, to cleanse the corruption from our home.
By the grace of the elementals!
I cannot fight much longer. Vogue. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't,
The light of the crystal!
So long as we're within the barrier, we need not fear Lipner's poison. What's he doing? Ah, I see. I can avoid this pretty easily. I should probably face him away from Keeper. Root uplift. There we go. Once again, I'm specifically making sure I click provoke so I don't do it accidentally. Misusing the tank's provoke at the wrong time can absolutely end a run. Force Celestial guys, the most torrential of storm. Poison. Gunbreaker lashed out in the face of death, bringing an end to its misery while the barrier still stands. Asura, and now fathom the death of your suffering, pearl that you hold dear, I shall see to it that you are given peace.
God's will be done.
Surrounding from exile minister and fear, the barrier may not last for much longer. Press the attack. Keep the allies alive. Here we are. We got him. Sadly, I haven't seen too many bosses that actually allow me to use interject very much. This is one of the few. The sacred soil in azure sky, through sacred soil in azure skies, may your compassion flow and swell to banish the darkness. Seeding terror. It's full quiet. Blessing, covenant preserved, now and always. Child of child. Honor and gratitude, unending. For we as well, honor and gratitude unending. We could not have overcome the blasphemy without your aid. In your everlasting grace, I pray you continue to guide we children of the forest. In your boundless mercy, I pray you forgive the lost and forsaken who have come to despair. To you, my dear Aasura, I promise I shall never forget your words of wisdom. Ours is indeed a gift and a blessing, and a duty to our people I will uphold until my final breath. This I swear. Elder Seedseer's childhood friend suffered too much tragedy in his life. Of this there can be no doubt. With his passing, he and the realm may once more know peace, and we may finally begin to mourn the innocence lost to his rage. Thank you, Coda. The great cleansing could not have succeeded without you. The blight has been purged, and the blasphemous beast which bore it laid low. The sacred wood that once held its breath in fear now breathes a long sigh of relief. I must return to Gridania and my regular duties as Elder Seedseer, but I should be glad if you would call upon me there, that is, if I may impose upon you one final time. Thank you, I promise not to detain you at length. Let us meet again at the Lotus Stand. Huh, looks like that paladin was also doing the quest line. I'm sure he had an easier time healing the wood whaler, healing our buddy there, but I guess Aurora's better than nothing. Like I said, it's a lot better for keeping me going rather than keeping a party member from dying. Paladins, if they use their heal along with one of their buffs, because the paladin buff not only buffs their damage, but also their heal. In the general sense, you don't get to use it very often, but it's pretty neat that they have an option like that. But hey, paladins are supposed to be holy knights and all that. Very fitting thematically. Nothicus Altar is a place of contemplation. Visitors are asked to refrain from creating a disturbance. The Elder Seed Seer awaits you. Shall I escort you to her? If you please. The Great One's ether flows through the Twelve's Wood, purging the last vestiges of Glypnir's poison. The surviving wounded are no longer in danger and have begun their recovering at long last. Good news from all. We have much cause to rejoice, in no small part thanks to you, my friend. On behalf of Gridania and myself, allow me to thank you yet again for your tireless efforts in bringing Glypnir to heal. You went above and beyond the call of duty for the sake of our people and their homeland. You were inspiring to behold, and not for the first time, I must say. Forgive me, Elder Seedseer, but with this crisis behind us, I would suggest a new course of action. Oh, and what would that be? Rest. In all our time together, I've never seen you so hard-pressed. Surely you're weary and could benefit from a brief respite. I appreciate your concern, my friend, but I cannot, I will not. Perhaps one day, but not this day. But, Elder Seedseer, recent events have given me cause to reflect upon my past, upon lessons I once thought I had taken to heart. When I did not yet understand the duty with which I have been entrusted, when these horns of mine were but chains binding me to a destiny I did not choose, 'twas Aesura who taught me to appreciate the gift I had been given. Had he not been there to help me to keep my proper path, where would my errant feet have taken me instead? He was perhaps the first, but he would not be the last. My brother and sister and countless other kind souls, their kind words and their support, have also helped me continue to find a way forward, even when I thought there was none. 'Tis by opening our hearts to one another that we, in turn, open new paths, that we may conceive of greater opportunities and brighter futures. All who live within Gridania are deserving of these gifts, so I must always be there for them. Together we may journey safely through the darkest night. Not tempted to live wild and free like an adventurer like myself? It is not without its appeal. I recall fondly the few occasions I have traveled beyond. Our time together in the churning mists certainly left a lasting impression. If there ever came a time when I no longer need to serve as Elder Seedseer, I should very much like to accompany you on another adventure. Sure, more the merrier. Regardless of what the future has in store, my present course is clear. So long as we Pajal serve as a bridge between man and elemental, Gridania can weather any storm. And so I will continue to walk hand in hand with my people and my patrons, along a path we will discover together. Oh yeah, I forgot, the salute for the Twin Adders is the Blitzball. Bless salute. Or the Yevon prayer. I guess in that case it makes sense that Kane would have Yuna's ritual as her own. There we are. Hello, Keeper. How are you feeling? Though the blasphemy is no more, there are still administrative matters to resolve. It's not too much to ask. Could you please bring word of these recent events to our delegate, Razat Han? Sure. It's been an honor and a pleasure, my friend. May the elementals watch over and keep you. I would gladly go to Razathan myself in your stead, but the Elder Seedseer is adamant on resuming her duties at once, and so I must too go without rest, but that is the life we both chose. Alright. Let us warp on over then. Well, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't especially good at my I wasn't especially good at my rotation, but well, it's fun, and I'm probably going to be keeping with it. Gridanian Delegate. Welcome back. I pray you brought glad tidings. Glipnir is slain. You brought joy to me in an otherwise uneventful day. Of course, I had complete faith in your success, but again, I began to worry ever so slightly when you did not return as quickly as I anticipated. I shall report your success to the envoys at once. If we have further need of you, I pray you answer our call. You can now dye job-specific gear for any level 90 tanks. While the Veil of Despair has been lifted from Gridania, our work is far from finished. It will take time and effort for the people to accept that peace is returned. Use your victory will surely speed this process along. Excellent. I guess that'll be good for now. Well, like I said, tanks, pretty much all the tanks have a big focus on loyalty, unerring, a faith in a brighter future, and for many of them, honor as well. Even if it's not direct lawful honor, like the Paladin, there's still honor in sticking to unyielding to your principles like Dark Knight does. So yeah, very fitting for it to be the tank storyline, and of course protecting a healer and damage dealer makes a lot of sense mechanic-wise. Like I said, it's a shame you don't get to use Interject too much in regular dungeons and battles. There's a few, it does occasionally crop up, which is why I have it on the bar at all, but unfortunately it's not one you get to enjoy too much. Oh well. I will say I've definitely been enjoying Gunbreaker, so it's probably going to be my primary tank going forward if I ever need to do so, or feel inclined to do so. Although I guess if I had one criticism, Gridania was basically supposed to be in the middle of what Razathan was during the level 85 stuff, when the blasphemy was causing people to turn left and right, people were all suffering from despair. But since they didn't actually put too many changes, or even a red sky, it was hard to see. And I do get it, they already established that you don't actually need the red sky from the end of the world, and obviously they can't have it as a requirement given these can take place after the Endsinger is defeated. But yeah. It was supposed to be mass chaos, but since they were limited in how much change they could make to Realm Reborn areas, it didn't always feel that way. Although don't get me wrong, the cutscenes where we did get to see people like the arguing at the border and the small town, we were able to get a much better... It did feel a lot more accurate, I guess I should say, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, I guess that'll be good enough for tonight. Bit of a short one, but I've been liking these so far. So it seems like they've been focusing largely on recapping events throughout the story so far, and I appreciate that, I really do. And there's only one left, and I'm probably going to do a dancer. I believe there's probably going to be another combined one, because once you completed all role quests and Shadowbringers, you had a combined one where all the stories came together for one last hurrah, and I'm hoping the same is done here. But I'll be worrying about that later, especially since DPS jobs take a lot longer to level up, so I'm not going to be rushing it. Well, until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.